Welcome back to another episode of Conversation with Yogis. I'm here with Ashley, who's actually online on the other side of our Zoom call. And we have today our next guest, which is going to be Annie Price. And she's a great friend of mine, and she's a great inspiration for many people. And I'm really happy to have her on the podcast because we can talk about everything that she does, from empowering women to be their best selves, and diet, fitness, plans, and business as well. So she's covering quite a lot of things, and I'm really happy to have you here. So why not introduce yourself, Annie?
Oh, thank you very much. It's so nice to be here. I feel like I've been hiding away in my little workroom, so it's nice to be in public with people. So I do quite a lot of different little things. The way I like to narrow it down so it's a little bit more digestible is that I always go back to my purpose, and that is always essentially to help people feel good and realize what's important and what's not important. And so the means in which I do that does change, but the essential purpose is always going to be the same. So I've made documentaries for BBC. I do a lot of social media work, not as much of late, but it's still something that I'm to do, and I enjoy doing. And I do a lot of talks, and I've got an online business, and I've been a trainer, and I've owned 2 gyms, which we sold nearly 2 years ago now. So yeah, there's a lot of changes, but as I say, that central meaning is there. And I think once you've got that central point, then it doesn't matter too much in how you serve.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think it's a good thing. I mean, it means that you're a more entrepreneurial person, that you always want to look for something new and how else can you help. So you have your main focus of what you want to do and how you want to help people, and then you just find new means of doing it. And I think it's quite good because it keeps you interested. It keeps you reinventing yourself and reinventing of how you work in a way. I think we kind of have to do that as self-employed as well, because the industry changing, life is changing, your life is changing, so you have to kind of adjust to it. And I think it's important that you move with the flow and change with it if you need to.
Absolutely, I completely agree with that. And I think it's one of those things where you realize very, very quickly when you become a coach or a teacher in any kind of way that you want to help or serve or create some sort of change, that you actually quickly learn that you're actually teaching yourself, and you're constantly then learning new things. And what you realized was the most important actually might become just the path to the next point, which is something else is revealed to be most important. And I know you guys will understand that, being yoga teachers, where you think perhaps it's solely about the movements of yoga, you quickly learn, actually, no, it's the mindset. How can I reach people through the mindset? And we all like to box things up and say, right, these are the physical aspects, this is the mental, but it's marrying the two, as you guys well know. And that gap was probably bigger for me because I was more gym based, so I didn't have that central, mindset that I think comes with yoga. I kind of had to find that along the way, and that's why the talks comes in, because there's got to be a foundation for that. It's like education. I think why a lot of kids can struggle. It's difficult if you're given methods and tools and all these things. If you don't have the grounding, the central reason of the purpose and why it's relevant, why you're going to stick to it. And so we quickly learn we need it all. We need it both. We need that physical aspect to say, right, I'm going to ground myself in doing this task, the discipline. And then I also need that some kind of mental symbolic way to say, right, I do have to keep finding those checkpoints. And then again, another layer is, as mothers, there's so much going on, there's so much expected of us, it's so easy to lose yourself. 1 minute you're doing something on a roll, the next minute you're screaming at yourself because you forgot to take the laundry out and it stinks. You're like, how is this happening? I thought I was flying in this area and I can't even remember to take the laundry out over here. What's going on? So it's this kind of big circle of going, right, how can I make everything make sense and make everything easy and digestible,
Yeah. I think I definitely resonate with that more since I've become a mother, that it's so easy to lose yourself, so easy to forget about yourself or take care of yourself, even just like putting on face cream in the morning or wash my face. Let's start with that. So, So it's just very easy to lose yourself in it, and then in a way you have to find yourself back. So since becoming a mom, I'm like, I kind of want to do this as well. I really I feel this urge of like, people need to take care of themselves better, and I have to do that as well. So it's different.
And the urge is that. The urge is because we know somewhere that by teaching it, it will anchor us to it as well. It's that, so, you know, if you're constantly talking about it, you're constantly doing it yourself, it helps it, it grounds it.
Yeah.
And that's something I realised, like when I'm not either in the gym coaching someone, or I'm not helping someone online with it, I'm not posting about it, I'm not talking about it, it drops in the pecking order, you know. So to teach it, you do it. It's a lovely, I think it's a really nice circle when you look at it.
Yeah, I think we do talk about that with Ashley a lot, that you have to practice what you teach, because otherwise it's never going to be authentic if you just teach something that you just read about or just kind of heard about.
Yeah, you lose your why you're doing it, and that like especially with yoga, if I stop practicing yoga for a few days, I feel that like um I don't know, like loss of connection where it becomes so authentic when I'm teaching it. So you have to keep maintaining your practice, whatever your discipline is, to bring it out and like develop yourself, to develop the practitioners along with you.
Mm.
And you can keep changing. Yeah,
I agree with that.
Annie, how did you get into health and wellness? Like when did this journey kind of start for you?
Um, I've always been into fitness, health, wellness. Not in the platform that I think that you're speaking about, but I think that if, kind of like what you just said, if you're practicing it yourself, that's who you are, and then it develops. So I was just the very typical too much energy child. Mum put me in loads of sports, and so I was just a sporty kid, and so it was just a really easy transition for me into coaching. And I didn't even intend to be a coach. I wanted to originally be a writer. I wanted to be a journalist, is what I wanted. But I couldn't abide sitting in an office, and so at the time I had a friend that was running a gym, and they said if you be a personal trainer, work for yourself, and then you can do your writing on the side. Obviously, I was young, impressionable, and foolish, which is obviously a plus at that age. And so I did that, forgetting fully that there's no on the side when you have a business. The business is the business. So the writing got dropped, and I went all in on the personal training, which at that time was a blessing because I was young, you know, 19, and how can I say it? I'll say enthusiastic and adventurous, which is the very best way I can say an absolute reprobate. So for me, it was really good because it kind of grounded me, and it got me to, and this is a technical term for you girls, lady, take less of the piss, you know, going out, being, you know, party. I was in London, you know, you can imagine. And so for me, it was really good to, you know, I've got a business, I've got to run it, I've got to get my clients in, I've got to learn, I've got to do the deed. And so it really grounded me, and it really helped me get hold of myself. You know, I really, really did need that, and I definitely needed to work for myself because I'm the sort of person that the buck needs to end with me. If I don't work, I don't eat. Perfect. I don't need to convince myself to get out of bed in the morning. I don't have to, you know, like there's a very direct route there.
Yeah.
And again, like working with people, all different types of people, is just such a good education in whatever way, you know, whatever area you're in. So for me, it was always like quite an easy route in. And I think that what I'm talking about now, that kind of split of personality where I'm like a bit of a wild one, but then I love fitness and I feel the immediate benefits of feeling good and how calmer I can feel. Because it doesn't matter how many times people say it. And I know logically we know, yes, if I'm calmer, things will run smoother. But there has to be a connection. You have to feel it for yourself, because it means nothing. And so I think I could really deliver that to the people, because I was in bank, in St Paul's as well, training a lot of like the business, like the bankers and lawyers and all the rest of it. And obviously they're living some big lives and doing a lot, long hours, and they often go out too much and all the rest of it. So it was easy for me to sort of connect with them and be like, look, I get it. I know what your goal is. And as I said, I use a line a lot, and it's a bit cheeky, but I do mean it. It's just like take less of the piss, meaning you can go out, you can do this, you can do this, but you do need to carve time for A, B, and C. And so I found it quite easy to coach that type of a person.
Yeah.
And it was fun, you know, having all these big dogs around you and like chatting to them and saying like, look, pack it in, get on with it. It's good, because I was kind of saying it to me as well, you know. And as I said, I really did need to hear that. A very long answer for you there. I apologise, but yeah. So my route into fitness was just, I don't think it would have been anything other than that. Like I was always going to be into that because I enjoy sport. I find it fun, and it's like the unnamed language, the universal language of the world. Like, we can all come together, move our bodies, and feel good. We don't need words for that. There's no barrier, there's no symbol, there's not something in place of that to bring that connection. It's like, get in, train hard, feel good, great, high five, see you later. I used to train people that spoke French, Italian. I just speak no other language other than English. You know, you can still get things done. Here's the check, pay this, get there, squat, copy, you know, what you eat. It's just freedom. It's just a wonderful way to bring it together. I think that's exciting. That's exciting to me, and I'm very led. I understand myself a bit more now, but certainly then I was definitely led by excitement and fun at the top end. And so, yeah, it was at the time I thought it was a struggle, but if I look back now, like we all do in hindsight, it was a very obvious and smooth route for me.
No, you're right with that. Connecting through movement is, we always say that yoga might not be your form of movement you want to do, but just like try different classes or try different exercise like Pilates, and just try, because there's something for everyone in a way.
Absolutely. I absolutely, I couldn't agree anymore. And as I say, this is why I love fitness and training and all of these things, because it's like the gift that keeps on giving. It's a lesson that keeps on giving me more information. Now with my son, with his reading, trying to convince a 5-year-old, 6-year-old to do 10 minutes of reading a day, when there's no, you know, he doesn't always want to do it. And so I don't necessarily make him read the books the school gives me or whatever, but I say you must read something, because I know, same as what you do, and we all do as coaches, I think, is that we know that as soon as you get someone in the door, doesn't matter in what area, once they're in, then they're going to be more receptive. Like, you know, my husband Sam, he is ex-England rugby player, bodybuilder, the archetypal I man, eat meat stuff, blah blah blah, gym boy. If I said to him, right, let's do yoga, he would have literally fallen over himself laughing, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But now he's been in the industry so long, he's a trainer himself, he knows coaches, he loves his body, appreciates his body, he knows how good he feels. Now, where is he at? He's just joined us up to some social club, which I'm not even down for those. I like a proper sweaty little gym or a little yoga studio. And he's saying, like, there's yoga we can go to together, Annie, there's swimming we can do. And I'm just like, do you know what? I'm being taught, I'm being lessoned by my husband now, and I'll take it. But it's that thing that you learn by doing, and then it will come as you go. So it's really important for people to just do whatever. This is why I say to people, you don't have to do the gym. You hate it, don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, don't do it. You want to do yoga, do whatever it needs. Your body will then eventually tell you, actually, you know what, yeah, maybe I do need to go for the swimming, or maybe I do need to actually get in the gym for X reasons. But more often than not, the body just wants to move, you know?
It's kind of like finding balance, that you do the strength building, but you need to do the stretching, or you need to do something for mobility. So it's finding that holistic of the whole body, that you're not just taking.
It absolutely is. But I think even that is too fractured, meaning it's too like gym, build muscle, yoga, stretch. And as you know, I've yet to meet someone that does an appropriate level of yoga for them that doesn't come out stronger, flexible, and all of the above.
Yeah.
However, if it helps them to compartmentalize, more power to you. But I think as I say, I don't want to keep talking about mum thing, but that's the arena I'm in at the moment, and so the frame I'm going to speak from is that we don't have the time. Me going to the gym cuts out so much time, travel, the change, the clothes, the people that I'm going to see, that whatever. I'm at home, I can do a quick circuit, whether that's strength training, whether that's yoga, whether that's whatever. For me, yoga is an excellent. I would hate to do it in front of you two, because I think you would laugh at me, because I'm probably ruining what the name of yoga is. But for me, I'm doing some kind of strength hold, and I'm doing mindful, I'm doing a stretch, I'm breathing, I'm having a moment. So that, you know, that puts everything into a nice little ball, and then I can do what I need to do before the kid pick up, before I forget to, you know, hang the laundry. Yeah. So I think just once, as soon as you got a foot in the door, it's fine.
Yeah, definitely, I agree.
Yeah, the time aspect is a huge thing. Like, I practice quite, I guess, intense, strong yoga, like rocket and ashtanga, and put in like strength training things in there because I don't have time to go to the gym too much on top of that, you know. But I do try to complement different types of movements and disciplines, especially now that I'm 40. I'm feeling my body change a little bit, and that I need to build a bit more strength into what I'm doing within yoga?
40? What are you doing? Asking me questions. Share the wealth, pal. What are you doing? Like, jeez. You're 40?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, almost 41. Yeah. Yoga, being relaxed. I mean, stress is like a huge thing that brings so much, illness, aging, lack of sleep. So even combating like or working with stress minimization through yoga, breathing, and meditation is huge for your health and wellness.
Mm.
And we learn that because we go through it. I said to my sister yesterday, I was having a chat with her. The way I used to train mothers before I was a mother is absolute disgrace. Like, if I look back on it, I'm like, oh, that's terrible. And I was a good one. I was still in the scheme of it, pretty not terrible. But it's just it's a different ball game. But as I say, you can't do everything. You don't know what you don't know. So
yeah, also you until you haven't been in the shoes of a
you
mother,
don't know. It's an
don't know.
impossible thing. I don't actually berate myself for it, but it just gave me an excellent pointer of being like, it is important to truly understand where someone's at and also allow them to make choices for their own fitness, their own journey,
Yeah.
And I've often taught myself out of clients because they said, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. I said, great, but what do you actually want to lose this weight? It's not that much. It's not really upsetting you. What's the point? Because you focus on this, it might do, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you just have to give people the big picture so they can say, actually, I do want this. But yeah, and then they're usually more receptive to say, I don't need to do it in 2 weeks. Actually, I'll do it over the year because I don't have to think about it too much. Yeah. Perfect. So you can usually talk people around into their goals, but it's definitely important to just discuss, isn't it, really, what they actually need.
Yeah, goal setting is huge, and having like a reason or a direction or a reason why that you want to do it, like that's so important for showing up because people, know their problems and they want solutions for their problems, but they don't exactly know how to get there. So you just, as like a instructor or a PT, inspirational talk leader, help people, let you know what their problems are, and then we can help like deliver solutions that they can work towards achieving their goals.
Definitely. The good thing about like nowadays that you have different platforms where you can help people, coach people, and just have people utilize it. And I always found that you've been using social media quite well for like talking through stories and offering people help. And what did that come naturally, or did you?
Social media.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I was really late on social media. It's not my friends that forced me on Facebook originally. Like, I kind of bypassed Facebook. Facebook was the first big thing.
Yeah.
I didn't really entertain that at all. I wasn't really interested. And then social media, Instagram, how did it even happen? I think I might have posted really sporadically, mildly. Then I think even through the documentaries and TV bits, I should have probably been more on it then, but I wasn't. It wasn't until I started posting for fitness. And I think that was more embarrassingly, and I'm not a mean person at all, but the amount of questions I got about fitness in the real world, like, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to answer the top lines on social media, more because it pains me when I'd watch women put all their eggs in the wrong basket. Like, I need to, I can't have a slice of bread, but I can have, the smoked salmon, eggs, and avocado. This is an example, and very like just pulled out of the air, but I just mean, because of the lack of understanding of calories and what actually drives the weight loss, yes, obviously health is huge because it helps you sustain it. But whether you're going to cut it, it is a matter of, it's a numerical thing, like for weight. Because there's people eating all the healthiest things in the world, but they're like, I'm getting bigger. I'm like, you still have to do a bit of all of it, So for me, I think it was more just, guys, look at this bit. This is it. Yes, all of these are important, but we must always know what's the lowest hanging fruit and what's going to drive the needle. Because I don't want people to be upset and in pain.
Yeah.
Like, just focus on this bit. Now, I'm not saying calories are top. Like, that we don't need to get into that. That wasn't the point of that sort of point. But it was more just trying to help people pull focus on what's important. And then also, one of the biggest parts for me is that it's never an ability problem. It's more of a acceptability problem, meaning most of the times that trip people up is because they think they can't do it. And so it's like trying to show people, look, let me get you there, so then we can remove that barrier. Let me help you drop a few pounds or do what you want to do. And then you can start enjoying it. And then I can start saying things like, instead of saying I have to, start saying I get to, and then that will change everything. But you can't really always give people advice, mindset advice, and this is where the circle is important, because it doesn't stop anywhere. You don't get to say, I'm going to help someone with their mindset, but I'm not going to do the physical aspect, because they both go back and forth to each other and they ground each other up. So me, by getting people a quick result, they were more receptive for my really fruity Annieisms, because if you don't have the backdrop or the grounding of a result, a hard result, people don't want to listen, because me saying, guys, you get to do fitness, they're like, fuck off. You know what I mean? But I'm saying, no. Just use that as a mental tool, because actually in the morning when you're going, oh my God, but then you actually go, actually, I get to go to the gym. Yeah, I'm doing that for me. And I'll feel really great after it. And I'll be proud of myself because I didn't mean, yeah, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? Like, that changes the game. And then what people forget is that we're never alone in the impact of our own thoughts. Meaning, when you start saying that in that one area, it's going to flood into all the other areas of your life. And that is a gift. That's connection. That's social media. That's, I believe, what the whole point of social media is. So once I learned that, I was like, oh my gosh, like, social media is amazing. You know, it's actually a community. It's actually friendship. It's kind of embarrassing because even my son says sometimes, Mummy, your friends have messaged you. And I'm looking at like social media. I'm like, shame. Am I like the biggest dork in the world or what? But you know what? Now I've got over that. I'd be like, no, it is nice. I get along with them. And there's so many times I've had help from, you know, from some of my followers might have said, you know, this thing you're talking about, Annie, you can do it like this. I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Because as I said, laundry, yeah, I might understand fitness, but tell me to get my laundry going, get my kids' clothes folded on time. No, you know what I mean? Like, that's something I'm having to sort of work on. So it's just social media was something that, again, it developed for me. I wasn't an immediate, I want to do it, because you can understand my face and my burns and whatnot. I get a lot of attention, a lot of outside, you know, incoming a lot. So in my head, I was a little bit, it's not selfish, but it might sound selfish, but it was just more like, what do you call it? Like self-preservation.
Yeah.
I just didn't want another thing. But then actually I was like, oh my God, I've been looking at the wrong angle. It's actually lovely. You know, this is wonderful. And I love people. I'm really interested. Tell me, what are you doing? Why? Why are you doing that? This is wicked. You know, so I actually really enjoy it. So I think for me, it wasn't a straight line, obvious path. And it definitely developed. And then when I got into it more and more, I realised how wonderful it is on all angles. Myself, for people I'm helping, for my business, and I got to do work that I actually wanted to do. I told you earlier, I'm very excitement driven, and if I enjoy it and engaged, I'll fly, I'll go for it. But if I'm not, I sort of drown a little bit. So it was just one of those things that really organically kind of grew, and I found it really enjoyable. So yeah, it's good.
I think you can't do social media without enjoying it. Because otherwise it's just like, oh, it's another task you have to get going. And it's, oh, it's my business. So
yeah, I will like add to that point and say that there has to be a grounding in enjoyment. You don't have to enjoy anything all the time, because I think that's one of the things, especially in any successes or anything. This is more from my sporting background. I think I learned that no matter how good you are at something or how enjoyable it is, there's always going to be 1,000 aspects to it that are not enjoyable and you don't want to do. So it's always worth remembering that. So even if you do enjoy something, there's going to be aspects that you have to go, pull your socks up, babe, let's get going. You know, like you have to just go through it. But it absolutely has to be grounded in, I do enjoy this, and it hits my purpose, it hits my stuff, and I enjoy it at some level. Yeah.
No, I agree. Definitely.
With regards to your social media, how, like you were saying, you would make content based on common questions people asked you. Is that mostly how you decide what to post, or how do you decide what to share and post?
Yeah. Okay, so everything's information, everything's a conversation. I think as adults especially, we've got a really good, high, very sensitive offence mechanism, meaning when we get a question or we get something, we always have to create another story behind it. So, oh, people are saying this because of this. People need help, essentially. They want to know more information. So whatever people say, if it's a negative comment, there's a question in there, there's a way to reach out and hold a hand, there's a meaning there. And so I've always gone by the basis of give them what they want and then give them what they need. So I will talk about calories, I'll say fat loss, I'll say weight loss. I don't care about the words that maybe upset some people, don't upset some people, because on the whole, and I always try to mix it all up, because it works for a lot of people. Some people want to hear weight loss, fat loss, even if they don't say it to their friends secretly. That's the stuff they're, secretly holding and pausing. And so I will give them that. It's not say that it's 10 tips to lose weight without thinking about it. And I give them the truth. I'm not lying. I'll say these are 10 tips to do it easily, because there are always ways to do it easier. But then I'll say, why are we losing weight? Do you need to lose weight? It's important. I'm not saying don't lose weight. I'm saying put it mentally in a box that isn't the most important, So I always think deliver what they need and what they want, and they'll tell you, everyone will tell you. And then you can add in I always say Annieisms, but it's obviously whatever human you are, whatever person you are, you give them your little ads. Because as I say, I actually love fat loss or weight loss, because I've always enjoyed it. Like, for me, that it's not I have to lose weight because I'm a terrible person if I'm 10 pounds heavier. It's just like, it's like building a house. I was literally walking into Melinda's house. I'm like, oh, I love this, I love this, I love this. Doesn't mean my doors at my house aren't nice, or my rug isn't nice, or my sofa's not nice. I'm just saying I like what you've got going on there. That's how I feel about my body. I used to enjoy being a bit more muscly sometimes. Sometimes I want to be slimmer. My friends laugh because I'm slimmer in the summer, and then Christmas I'm heavier because I enjoy that, because I'm like, it's Christmas. That mulled wine's not going to drink itself. Like, it's fun, and that's how it should be. It's fun. But again, like, and I say this to my clients, because sometimes they'll say, yeah, but you sometimes like to go up and down the weight. I say, yeah, but I can handle it. And I say, I don't mean it a horrible way, but I'm saying that I'm not going to beat myself up for being a few pounds heavier. I have 9 fingers and half a nose. I can put, my boxes are in line, pal, but you will eat it and you berate yourself. That's the difference. And that's why I start with the mindset of saying, I get to. So when you are chowing down on those 10 mince pies, that I don't even like mince pies, but it feels good to eat them at Christmas, I know I'm saying I get to, because when you get to that point, you're saying, I'm owning my choice, then you can enjoy it. You see what I mean? And so when you say, like, is that, do I lead by that? Absolutely. In reality, if no one spoke to me, I would still have my points that I would want to give people, but they're not going to hook. They're not going to land. You can't just walk into a room and say, hey guys, guess what? I know the secret to living. It's oneness and love. They can be like, what the fuck is she doing? Yeah. You need to say the back to her, so it helps. And that's, I think, for me, what opened my world up also. As I say, like, you teach, but you learn as you teach. It goes back and forth. It's a wonderful thing. And I learned that, that's why I tell my story, because when I tell people the stuff that happened to me, it helps them understand that I've been through difficult things, and then I can say, actually, it is about love, and they get it, that I'm not just being fruit up. So it's this wonderful circle. And so it is with everything, with fitness too. I can say, hey, I've been 10 kilos heavier than I have now. Didn't love it, but really uncomfortable. My neck really hurt. Did I hate myself? No. And then from that point, can I say, is it appropriate for me to weigh less? Yes. And I think at the moment we're just getting out of it, I think, but we're still heavily one foot in there, where we're not allowed to talk about weight, and it's all got to be, everything inside counts. It's like, yes, but we do remember that inside is important, the outside's a vehicle. We want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
You
want to be confident and comfortable in your own body.
Exactly.
Also, it's so true that you have to accept yourself in any kind of form. It's just like, only you have to accept yourself, because it doesn't matter, like, people are like, oh, you look very good, or you gain weight, lost weight. It doesn't matter if you're not happy within yourself. It's not going to be
bingo. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
No, it's good, and good to view it that way, because I am a person who was looking for outside validation, and then my partner is a person who doesn't like to give you, like, physical validation.
That's the same.
And I'm like, well, why don't you say that I look good today, or why don't you say that I've gained weight? And he's like, well, I don't want to comment on your body. He's like, I want you to comment on it.
Yeah, I know.
And they still don't. It's like, okay, but in a way it's better, because we kind of like trying to trigger it or pick on it until they say something, and then we can be angry. And it's all coming from me. And
it makes you laugh. I like to get dressed up, and if he doesn't say anything, I like to just, like, slide down the wall sexily, or do a twirl, or like hand him his coffee really elegantly. I get nothing.
Notice me somehow. Yeah, I know.
But then if they say something like, "Why have you done your hair blonde? You're not Beyonce," I'm like, "Get out." Yeah.
Need a reason. Just it makes you feel better. That's what you were feeling in the moment. Do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the blonde was. I was a bit drunk and I was watching. What's it called? Lady Gaga. I could have just watched it, and enjoyed the show. I didn't need to buy a blonde wig. But it's fine. It's a separate conversation. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
It's all good to change things up, is definitely. And so then to bring you back, what do you see yourself doing like in the future? Because as you say, like you evolving all the time. You did talks. I mean, I saw you at Fern Cotton's Happy Place festival. You done and you done
Yeah.
BBC stuff. Where do you see yourself going? Because you also got a Women Club to help women,
Yes.
to empower women. Is there still route for you to keep evolving that or change that? Or
Absolutely. I've learned that it's just keep your options open. You know, we never know 100% what direction. It's always, I do believe you need to have a target, otherwise it's just you need to have a rough target, but just be open to which direction you're going to go. Fitness definitely is never going to be close to me because I absolutely love it. And as I say, I'm going to get back online and start posting a little bit more about that again. But I think I've just recently had a bit of a break from social media, not intentionally at the start, but it needed to happen. And funnily enough, I've just gone back to the writing, like I told you about the original. And I think that was always there, like, you know, a little part of you just like chugging away in the background. So I want to do this thing. I need to get this out. I need to do this thing. I need to try, even if it fails. I need to try. So at the moment, that's probably my number one focus is writing and developing the stories that I'm doing at the moment. But social media is always going to be part of that because that's the world we're living in at the moment. So it's ridiculous not to be. But I probably won't do it in the same way that I was doing it before.
Quite time consuming when you have to post all the time, story all the time.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be like that. I think that where we all can't help it, but we all copy each other. So there's loads of people in social media managers or guru creators that talk about posting X times a week, doing this, doing that, doing the other. And it depends on what your goal is. And obviously, if your goal is to make money via online, then yeah, absolutely, you have to follow the slight blueprint sometimes. Yeah. But at this point, my income's coming from a different arena anyway, and I just want to help. And that's not me being like, oh, I just want to help, but it is usually was like, as I said, I've said it 100 times. I get so much from chatting with people, and I get probably more helping than they get. That I want to do that. But no, I think I will get back in social media.
Yeah, and also it's just a way of I find if it's authentic to you, like you're not following a blueprint of have to be successful on social media, it's always going to come across to people like it's more honest. So people are actually going to follow you. So and then having a break from social media is important, especially if you've been working on it a lot, and because it can be quite time consuming and also like living on the phone and trying to reply to everyone.
That's it. I didn't think that's an aspect of it I didn't like. And as I say, I don't think that other people necessarily, I don't think people need to have a break from social media. I don't think people need to necessarily, really sort of doctor, like change how they view it. Me personally, I did, because my attention is a little bit too anyway. And I've got kids and they're my number one. So I don't want to be like half on my phone. And I know a lot of people aren't like that. I am, and I didn't like it. So I didn't want that to be an option. I didn't even, as I say, I didn't even intend to not be on it, but it was just the less I was on it, the less I thought about it. And then I had a better home life. Like, you have to be a mathematician to figure that one out. So I just followed what feels good and what felt right for my unit, my family.
Yeah.
And I think that's ingrained enough now for me that if I go back, I won't have to manage that. It will be like, I'm going to post because this is relevant, I'll help here. And then, I'll put it in times and I won't let it leak from different areas. So I say, there's no like, I'm not poking at social media. So I think a lot of people do it better than I ever did. But as I say, I get a little bit like my husband says, I'm a social hand grenade. Like I can just get a bit like, wow, I love it. Because it comes from a good place. But unfortunately, as you know, we're only one being. You put your focus here, what's going on over there? and I didn't have the ability at that point to do it lightly.
Yeah.
So I think now I've got that. So I think it'll be different.
It's kind of finding the balance anyway. It's hard, your normal life between your life and work. But then when you throw children in the mix and then relationship, and there's just too many, as you say, too many baskets you're trying to fill in, and it's very hard.
Yeah, and what I've struggled as well, when people talk about balance, they talk about it, and in my head, because how I see things, I'm quite like bang, bang, bang. I want to put things in boxes in a way. I kind of thought they meant like balance work, balance family, balance kids, balance me time. Oh, that's very neat. I'm going to try and do it like that. But actually, that's all outside things. True balance is inside. You have to balance your head inside on how you look and being able to understand what the ultimate equilibrium is for you. And it changes, and understanding that it changes, like swilling a bottle of wine on a Friday night might have relaxed you in your early 20s. It's not going to cut it when you've got kids. Do you know what I mean? So like understanding your balance is different. And but I say that's what drew me back in, and why I keep saying we need to do something. So I want to share this yoga, because I was probably I wasn't anti-yoga, but I didn't get it. As you say, you learn by doing, you learn by getting, and now I get it. I'm like, oh, guys, we need to get this out there. And obviously, Melinda's sitting there like, yeah, Annie, that's why I've been doing it for ages, you moron.
I would not say that.
She wouldn't have worded it, because she's a lady. I would word that for her. But that is it, and so now I get it. But because, again, the reason I'm sort of trying to do it via me as well is because I know what I would hear if someone said to me, hey, come and do yoga. It needs to be broken down, really small bite size, give them easy digestible ways to make it work fast, which is annoying because yoga is like, no, there's no fast because there's no end. It's a continual thing. But someone like myself, like, no, where's the end? But we can give faux ends. We can create these mild, until someone's in, give them what they want. And that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's not a bad thing. My husband does it for me all the time. Like, lead me in the best way possible. Don't give me some big map. Just say, look, this will help. Okay, I'll come. Little breadcrumbs. We all need breadcrumbs. Same with kids.
Yeah, that's a good point, because some people see at yoga studios a class is like an hour and a half, and they're like, why do I need to go to an hour and a half class to do yoga? And if they have and I've realized that as a teacher, because I go to like an hour and a half classes, sometimes even 2 hours. But if you're helping people get into the practice initially, it's like, well, how do I do this in 10 minutes? Because I only have 10 minutes in my day realistically, or 15, 20. So I have a members area where I have yoga videos, and even on YouTube where I have okay, well, if you really don't have time, do this.
Perfect. That's perfect. And because again, that's what you're doing. You're welcoming them in. You're saying, you don't understand yet, but if you can get yourself in line, all of that stuff that you're trying to do will run a lot more smoothly. It's hard to believe, even though it makes sense, even though logically we know it, even though we know it in other areas of life, it's still hard to actually believe. So you do have to, I find as a coach, constantly always go back to where you were in the loop of where your client is. Because you're trying to teach someone from where you are, there's too big a gap. And I'm in it at the moment. I'm in another industry. It's new to me. I'm very at the base, and people are giving me advice, and I'm like, what's a signpost mean? They were saying this whole thing to me, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. You always have to go,
back to basics.
Always basics. Always back to basics.
Yeah, no, it's true. Going back to basic classes, so even if you've been practicing for years, it's important, because they're like, I have not tried this for a long time.
Isn't it?
A different view.
I say it's almost like my mantra, no one's above the basics. I always say it to myself, because I always feel like this is naughty, but because of my almost my identity as a personal trainer, I feel like I can get through life without training at all, because I'm like a you know what I mean? It's like, no, you haven't done it. You're thinking about it, you're talking about it, but have you done the things? Have you drunk enough water today? Did you go to sleep? Have you eaten veg? You're talking about veg, you had a little meaty salad, but have you had it throughout the day? You know what I mean? Because it's in your mind, you feel like you're doing it somehow, but actually it's like, no, none of us are above the basics. You have to really break it down, no matter what stage you are, beginning, top, whatever. You have to keep creating the time.
Yeah, I'm practicing it. No, that's true.
Absolutely. Can you I don't know much about your time as did you say a BBC presenter or you were in a documentary?
Yeah, both. Yeah.
What
Can you
did
share more about that?
Uh,
I didn't know about that.
yeah. So I was personal training at the time. And my boyfriend, or husband now, at the time boyfriend, he was training someone like the England rugby crowd, and they had an agent, and they'd said, "I'll speak to this girl. You'll like her." Not my words. Uh, and then I met with her, and I hadn't thought of TV at all. Um, but young, I'm not the sort of person to say no. I was quite open, so I was just like, yeah, yeah. And I remember having a chat with her. So, you're really chatty. I think they'll like you, and let's take you to a production company. Do you want to do TV? And even in the production company at the time, oh, you're into, do you want to be a presenter? Do you want to do TV? Do you like it? It's like, yeah, yeah, I love it. Love that. I love that TV. Always love the TV and love it. And I didn't really know what I was getting into, if I'm honest. So I was just sort of rolling with it. And then they said, oh, do you want to do a documentary? And the first few documentaries they put out to me were, you wouldn't even be able to offer it to someone now because it's technically like wildly offensive. But like when we got to, so it took a while, but then fast forward like a year, because it was actually quite a long time. I started looking into my past. I was adopted. I was burnt in fire at 4 weeks old. I was put into care, later adopted into a different family. And then I was with my, I said, boyfriend, and it was family, kids are on the horizon. So I thought, if I don't look into my past now, I might not do it. So I started looking into it, and like all good investigative journalists, went on Facebook, and I just started looking at there. And it was very difficult. I didn't really get much information. At the same time, this production company said, "Oh, what about if we look into your past and what happened on the day of the fire? Who actually did it? What happened?" And yeah, so then it was just sort of like stars aligned, I guess. Same time, same intention. And so I thought, if I don't do it now, I won't do it. If I had, a team doing it with me, I knew I'd see it through to the end. Because most of the time, you find out a little bit, or certainly I have, find out a little bit about any truth, and you're a bit like, oh, that hurts. I don't want to keep going down that road. So I thought, if I had a team, I would see it through to the end. And yeah, so we did it. I did it for a production company. It was for BBC, so it went out on then, and it did well. So the Beeb asked me back to do a few more documentaries, and then yeah, it just went from there. I was never like a proper presenter. I was like the real person, like me and the camera on a little adventure. So I could just kind of be myself. I didn't have to sort of do things, if you know what I mean. Like it was, I feel when people say I'm a presenter, I'm like, I don't actually have the qualification. I'm not like technically a good presenter. I'm just out running around. But they said, like, what ideas, what would you like to do? And I was like, I'd love to go to Korea and speak to these plastic surgeons. And like, great, let's do it. And I was like, oh, okay, let's go then. And then there's me, like, what was I, 28 weeks pregnant, watching live operations, people taking faces off, chiseling jaws. Honestly, I remember just walking out of one, just puking. They're like, you okay? I was like, I am. But my curiosity got the best of me. I was like, let's keep going, pal. That was fucking insanely interesting. So yeah, it was just great. It was just a really good adventure. And more, why would you not? It was just really great fun, and it's opened loads of doors. Yeah.
Why were you in an operation, watching an operation?
So one of the documentaries, they asked me, I said, what things you're interested in? And I said, well, I've always heard the very best plastic surgeons are in Korea. I'd love to find out if that's the truth, what's going on there. Because at the time I was looking at maybe having my nose done, and I was just curious. Bearing in mind, we're in a room, and this is one of about 50 ideas I put out, and this was probably at base one of the most ridiculous, because it was just about plastic surgery and, just for fun. But actually, it was so interesting. We found out so much. The way they have their system over there is completely different. It's not like here where there's a GP and then you have specialised like plastic surgery or heart surgeon. Once they're qualified as a doctor, they can pretty much do whatever they want, which has actually led them to having some of the best, because kind of free to do what they want. But obviously, as you can imagine, freedom also creates problems, because people are doing things they shouldn't be doing, and there's a lot of deaths. People going for what is a very easy operation are coming out. We weren't coming out at all. Yeah, it was fascinating.
Sorry, which country was that in?
Korea.
Korea. It's called Plastic Surgery Capital of the World.
Korea.
Yeah.
Seoul, it was in Seoul, yeah.
Oh, so okay. I didn't hear you say that part. Okay.
Yeah. But that's the thing is like because you're open to anything really, like to be like new ideas or trying new things. That's why you got into like BBC and then doing this different kind of documentary. So I think it's good because
yeah,
it's
Didn't
open
feel
to
like
door.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good. And how did you become like an inspiration? Like you do inspiration talks as well. You go to like events or festivals, and how did you get into that? Is that through BBC or that just naturally just met someone?
No, yeah. So I'm smiling because now that you said it, I'm like, have I actually made any effort in my work at all? Because actually just fallen into everything. Because now that you said it, I'm like, oh, there's me thinking I was really cool. I'm not an intentional thinker. I think that's now becoming clearer as I'm getting older. And it's more that I just enjoy life and I'm sort of open. I think that's probably what's put me into different places. So the talks happened just because. So again, my husband, he went to private school, and his school asked, also there's, oh, can you ask your missus if she'll come and speak to the kids? It just happened like that. I think I had a couple. I might have had it's had a lot of those kept happening, and it's quite a good sort of set up. Meaning you go in, you talk for an hour, questions, chat. I like people, so I'm always interested in speaking. And I didn't, if I'm honest, I don't want to do the talks because I always found the inspirational tag kind of found it offensive originally years ago. And this is me being just transparent.
Yeah.
I see it differently now, but certainly when I was younger, I didn't really 100% get it. Remember, it's when it's your story, it's hard to see yourself, how people see you. So I kind of thought, wait, so you think I'm an inspiration because I'm ugly? Like, I know that sounds bad, but that's how I felt years ago. Like, I'm just being honest. That's the best way you can kind of really speak with people. But then I did the talks, thinking, regardless of whatever happens, I get to meet new people, and practicing the skill of public speaking is a good thing to have anyway. So I thought I'll do it. I've always known that you rarely know the benefit of something until you've done it. So I think that that's probably the only benefit I had to get me to do that. And then the more I did, the better I got, the more receptive, more help. I saw the change in people. Because obviously, so many times people say, oh, you helped me with this, you helped me with that. I'm not there with them in that moment, so I don't really get it. Because I think when I had the questions from these kids, they were like, oh, is this because of that? I could really see them seeing differently. Because I think wrongly, I kind of always felt that we, no matter what, where we come from, who we are, we all have the same kind of perception. But obviously, that's not the case. That's not how it is. I know that's a really childish probably thing to say, but that's kind of how I felt. And then when I saw that, I was like, wow, this is a different world. Some of these schools, they're like helicopter rich. You know what I mean? It's like a different league, a different thing. Same as the businesses that did things. Because often I've done talks at businesses. I'm like, well, I'm here. Like, I'm in like the heart of London doing a talk with business. Like, I was burnt in fire. Like, what the fuck? How's it? What? But again, I just go with, it's not for me to understand the complete line. Just know that you're there, do your thing, and then it usually will come out. Like you can see the what's it called, the lines connecting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it kind of, again, it happened organically, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm better. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being with people. I enjoyed talking, and then usually a talk would happen, and then someone would say, "Oh, can you come and do this?" And it wouldn't always be another talk. It might be, "Can you train me?" or "Can you do this?" I wouldn't always say yes either, but I just mean it creates that understanding of where you're needed, because then it's the same kind of questions. Does that make sense? Have I gone a bit too far off? Does that make sense?
No, I think it makes sense. And just going back to that, you said like you didn't like the inspiration to be called inspirational. But I always found when I first met you, it was on your wedding day, and then we met, and you asked me so many questions about myself, and then you were so interested and so driven, and I was like, oh my god, I really really like talking to you because you're like open my eyes to things that I didn't even see. And it's like, you're just asking me questions. I'm like, I want to ask questions from you, but you don't really let me get there. But it's very good because you always, I don't know, you just you have a very good positive energy, and I think that's why you are an inspiration, because you're just.
I didn't see that. I didn't get that because obviously, if you're yourself, you don't see your benefit. Like you don't. Well, I don't know. Maybe other people do, but I feel like you can't see it. In my head, I thought everyone else was thinking the same thing. You know, and so like this is why the businesses, you know, these men, these you know, sort of like some of my best relationships over my 20s and 30s are technically inappropriate because they'd be these 50-year-old businessmen that you can't have it if you didn't have A, an understanding boyfriend, and two, people to know that there was nothing going on there, but it was just that meeting someone that was similar to you. I feel like I'm going off it, but there's a point, but it's hard for me to always bring it to make it obvious. But my point is that like they helped me see what I was giving. And so I understood the inspiration bit was not actually to do with how I looked, but it was actually just being happy. And then I was like, what? People just want me to explain how I'm happy. I can do that. Like, give less of a shit. There you go. Like, then I was like, I get it. But that's what I mean. Like, it really is the connection is how I learn, you know, who I am. You know, you bounce off of each other. Yeah, I do really remember meeting you. I was like, oh my God, who is this avatar of a hot human? So tall. Like, and then you're just so calm and lovely. I was like, do you know what I mean? Like, you meet people and you don't know why you like them or you need them in your life, but it's there on a some level. So I remember seeing you so calm, and I was just like, and there's me like a ping pong ball.
It's energy. It's always going up.
It is. But it is. But as I say, I didn't get that because again, when I first got into yoga, or not yoga, sort of met people with yoga, they were just saying, for me, you can't just say energy. I need more words to get there. So I would just hear energy. They'll be wearing loads of layers. I'm like, why you got so many clothes on? Why do you keep saying just energy? But now I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
But it kind of opens up my eyes as well, like how you should be like laid out to people, that you have to use different language, or you have to like get to their level, and then whenever we talk, I always get very inspired to do lots of things, and then sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know how to get there. So I think we'll be creating a very good team, because you have all these ideas, you understand all these basics, and I can get to do things, but I can't get.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of being with people, because I'm that ball of thing. But as soon as someone says organise, I'm like, nah, see ya. Whereas, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's in it. I remember my manager at one gym, he was like, I'd just been told off because oh shit, why did I bring this up? I don't want to say this.
I can bring it up. We can move on from that.
Yeah. I won't say the point. I done something I shouldn't have done. But, and he was like, I don't think I could say it without saying it. Basically, he just said that. He said, you're lucky you bring us together, but you're also the hell. Good, but you uplift, so it's okay. So you're staying and stop fucking about.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's we can always change things and adjust.
But that's the beauty of the community. Like, I'm always like, who are you? What are you up to? What we doing?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, what's your bag? And then people always then, it's where people go wrong. They're like, oh, I wish I was a bit more like this. And it's like, no, because we're a puzzle. We need each other to fit together, or it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, you know, meet Sam, and then you'd be like, you'd never pick that. You know, me. But it's like, you need each other to join.
Yeah.
That's what's so wonderful. That's why I'm always like, when people are like, oh, I don't want to get up. I'm like, there's a whole day ahead, full of people and stuff. Do you know what I mean? I've always been a bit overexcited as a human.
Well, it's definitely very not affectionate, when it's like magnetic. Like, I'm always getting very excited when I see you. It's very good, because I'm a very hyperactive person, so for me, teaching yoga really calmed me.
And
settled me, and it's good. But then when I feel your energy, I'm like getting to the same level. It's like, really calm.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It's
good. No, I'm definitely on the yoga path. Like, it's another reason I want to teach it, because I need it. You know, like my time is up. I don't get to be a bounce around crazy anymore, because I've got things I need to focus on, and I have kids. It's not appropriate. Sometimes Sam comes back and we're all sitting under a dead eating cereal. He's like, it's 4:00 in the afternoon. What the hell is going on? But I don't know. But they started. It's so great.
Oh, it's good. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything we wanted to ask you? Anything else? Do you remember anything you wanted to ask Ashley?
Not off the top of my head, no. I love that, Annie. I love your energy. I
Yeah.
can see, like, I could have met you in person because it's very infective.
Mm.
Aw, thank you.
Definitely. It's
I
that's why it's
appreciate it.
good to have different kind of people on because we were talking with Ashley that we don't want to only have just yoga people on. It's like some people being inspired by yoga or just like working in wellness, or we want to like broaden our
Oh,
spectrum
definitely.
because
Oh,
it's good. It's
definitely.
important as well.
Like you were saying, like, you need to find the disciplines that work for you to enjoy moving your body, and, like, we know not I love yoga, obviously, but, like, not everybody who comes to yoga is gonna love that type of yoga or yoga at all, so it's nice to, um,
I
broaden the horizons of how you can move and, like, different ways of, um, I
bring in
guess
people.
finding inspiration.
Yeah, I think it's important for you to do that, to speak to different people, because I actually think yoga is literally one of the, if you keep going, the buck is gonna, it kind of stops near enough at the top, is going to be yoga. And so for you to speak to these different people, to drag people in, I don't mean to word drag, sorry, but get people in, it's really important. Like, everyone should be doing it. Like, if you're doing fitness, you're doing business, you're doing gym, you want to be a bodybuilder, yoga's there at the top. So, you got good responsibility there, ladies. You've got to get them all in. It's important though. It's like, it helps ground, it helps leveler, and then people can go out and blossom and be what they are. But it really is, yoga's the top. It's not going to be anything else. But it is important that, like, once you've got a discipline in one area, you can transfer it to another area, and I think that's a really good loop to get people in. I've always found,
Yeah.
it's really cool to do it that way. But yeah, no, I did used to do an hour and a half session, and the lady that the class that I was with, I was like, it's an hour and a half, and I knew, because obviously I'm a coach, and people say that, I'm like, and I could feel her be like, oh, just do it. But again, the discipline for me was knowing I'm the student. She's the coach. She's rolling her eyes, knowing she knows something I don't. So I shut my mouth up and I did my hour and a half 3 times a week. Was she right? Absolutely. Was I wrong? 100% wrong. Like, the only thing I could say to myself was get there faster. Fall in line quicker. So yeah, no, I think yoga's. Yeah, I'm all for it. I think it's wicked.
Yeah, good. Definitely, we should get more in. Well, yeah. Then thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Lovely to chat, and yeah.